Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Uh, there's a question that many have, especially here in the West, with regards to marriage and divorce. Not going to necessarily give a fiqh lesson on it right now, but there are things that we need to keep in mind. So in America, for example, we know that the imams of masajid, for example, they don't do Islamic marriages unless you do the legal marriage with it. That's what's become known. So they do the legal and the Islamic marriage together. But we need to understand that the legal doesn't have anything to do with the Islamic. As in, if somebody did the Islamic marriage, they have the conditions of the Islamic marriage, they're fulfilled, then that's it. You are married. You are married. And the legal, from an Islamic perspective at least, doesn't have anything to do with it. So, just like it doesn't have anything to do with the marriage, it doesn't have anything to do with the divorce, which comes into play when the woman, for example, she goes to the court and she divorces her husband. We know Islamically only the man can divorce up to 3 times. So we have to understand that in America and many countries, they're not even religious countries anymore, if they ever were. So they're not even Christian countries, for example, right? They're secular countries, more on the way of atheism. So we have to and also there's no Muslim country, a legitimate Muslim country out there, which means there's no legitimate Muslim judge. Okay. So now, I mean, there are different options. So obviously, if the man divorces, that's clear. Then there's the khula, where you can, with the agreement, have the woman divorced from the man. I'm not really going to detail right now. You can read and study about that. But then there's a fasq, where you make the contract null and void. But we need to understand that your local imam, for example, doesn't have the power to do any of that. For some of the reasons that I mentioned earlier about no legitimate Muslim country, and all of that is not binding, right? Again, with regards to the legal way and all of that. So even if the woman divorced legally, which she can in America, has nothing to do. It will still mean that she's married to that man Islamically. And that local imam generally has no say in that. Because now we're seeing that some of these local imams, they are forcing the divorce somehow. I'm not sure how. They're forcing the divorce, and then that woman is going to get married after, but she's still married to that man. And we know that the Muslim woman can only marry one man, one man at a time. So that means her other marriage it's not a marriage; it's zina. It's zina. And I know that that there are oppressive people, and there's reasons that the woman has to leave the marriage. I understand that. We're not really looking at that right now. We're looking at it from the perspective of we need to do it right. We need to do it right, and we're even hearing about situations where the some of these local Islamic figures. They are even, if you want to call it, tricking the man into divorcing the woman because they know that's the easier route. But the problem really stems from, right? So if the woman, does get upset for whatever reason, maybe something did happen, and then just from there, she goes, to the court. She goes to the imam, and a lot of times it's in her favor, and she might regret this later. Right? There's a reason why the man divorces. There's a reason why the man divorces. So it's just some things to consider that, and I'm not trying to downplay what happens between people, and that some marriages definitely need to end, but there are many out there that think that they're divorced and they're not, and they're getting married again and they are committing zina. They are committing zina, right? Because this local Islamic figure did what he believes is a khula, which many times is not, right? Even probably crazier if they do fasq somehow. I'm not sure how they would, but again, we're hearing different things, and it really needs to stop. And we need to also not encourage divorce like we're seeing, right? Because people are divorcing all the time now, and these local Islamic figures don't seem to be helping many of the times, maybe even encouraging. So these are some things to consider. Again, we're not really focusing on the fiqh necessarily right now. We need to read that and study that, but we just need to understand the time that we're living in and what we're seeing, again, to differentiate between the legal way and the Islamic way, right? So the legal way of marriage and the legal way of divorce has nothing to do with the Islamic marriage and Islamic divorce, right? And many, if not most, don't have the right to force separation between the husband and the wife, Islamically. Especially, some of these people are not even studied, and they're probably Salafi as well. Could a mufti, a legitimate Sunni mufti, could he do it? Possibly. The thing is, classically about the mufti, what the mufti says isn't necessarily binding like the judge. So the Islamic judge, that's what would be binding in an Islamic state, which doesn't exist today. Again, it does not exist today. But we do have some legitimate Sunni muftis out there. But it would take to go to them as well in different variables and conditions. But these are just some things to kind of consider, at least because of the chaos and madness we are experiencing at the moment. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his help and guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wa sallallahu ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.